yeah, I recorded certain takes of certain parts of songs I couldn't beat after that. And so I was like, I'm going to deal with the bullshit sound and try to clean this up and whatever. But this is the take. This is when I actually meant it the most. And I'll never mean it as much as I did in that moment. So that's it.
Here we are, pressing on, stepping over everyone. I'm so unhappy, but I try my hardest.
I've been sort of suppressing some of these feelings because I know that my 13-year-old self would see me right now and say, "What a fucking idiot. What are you thinking?" Like the thought of like even considering, I don't know how happy this makes me anymore. This dream that I had since I was a child, I don't know if this is like something feels weird about it, and it's not getting any better.
Mm.
And so I've been suppressing that feeling as much as I can. Nope, 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 nope. This is just a temporary thing. This is a thing. I'm gonna push it down, push it down. There's no way I can accept that. And then by suppressing it internally, I'm also suppressing it with my band and with the fans of this band because I don't want to tell them like, hey, I think I'm miserable right now. But then the reason I'm like talking about this now is because I just had this revelation. Like I just had this epiphany yesterday.
So depressing, having everything I wanted. It's so depressing, hard, pressing on, pressing on. I hate pretending this is where my heart is. I wanna feel the way I did when we started. It's so depressing, having everything I wanted.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Alex Licia, your host of The New Rock Show, and today I am joined by a very special guest. You need to know all about this brand new album coming from Bad Flower because the countdown is on right now. No Place Like Home is going to be yours real soon, and to talk to me all about it, I am joined by the one and only Josh Katz. Hello!
Hello.
Hello. I've just been saying it's so nice to see you again since Leeds 2021. I have actually seen you though live. I saw you at Nottingham at the Rescue Rooms a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show and to be able to talk a little bit more about all of this exciting new era, new stuff coming.
Yes, thank you so much.
I just want to start on a little bit of a wholesome note for you. Like I've just mentioned, I have personally seen you live and in the flesh. Bad Flower is such a great band live. Of course, I've seen you at festivals, I've seen you at your own shows. I love listening to your music as well. And this new album that's coming will be the third one. And I just wondered, for you, like, when you are up on stage, I see so much joy, so much energy. You are so good at what you do. You clearly love what you do. So when did you first fall in love with music and realize that music was for you?
I can't remember. I mean, I think before I was playing a piano before my feet could reach the pedals,
Oh,
and you couldn't get me off of it. So it was the only thing I wanted to do. Yeah, very young age.
yeah. So it found you, like you say, when you were young.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course. And people that know Bad Flower would know that the band kind of was born out of Los Angeles, California. But last time we spoke, you'd mentioned that you'd moved to Nashville. A couple of members had moved to Pittsburgh. I just
yeah.
wondered for you though, like as a youngster and a young musician growing up in California, what was that like in comparison now to being where you're at in your musical career in a place like Nashville? I can imagine, there's many similarities, but also many differences in a way.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for calling me a young musician. That was the nicest thing anybody said to me in a long time.
You're so
Um,
welcome. It's so
yeah.
true.
And it's different. Well, I mean, I'm not even in Nashville. I'm in like deep Tennessee. I'm in the middle of
Right.
nowhere. Um, so it's definitely different. And to be honest, I'm going a little bit crazy, I think, finally at this point. It's been a few years that I've been here and I kind of like swore off people. I was like, I do this touring thing and I have such a crazy social life. When I'm working, when I'm home, I just want to be alone with animals. And I think it's getting to me now. I think I'm losing my mind completely.
Right. Well, it's pretty
Thanks.
good then that you've got a busy year on the way for sure.
Yeah, probably is good for the mental health, I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you kind of like keep yourself motivated then in that downtime? As a musician, when you do have those like quieter moments, quieter days, and you're away from your band, and like you say, you're a little bit isolated. What do you actually get
Yes.
up to? What's a typical day like for Josh?
I don't stay motivated. That's the problem.
Right.
Yeah. I still have. I'm still so motivated when it comes to writing songs.
Hmm.
But the issue I'm dealing with now is motivation to do anything beyond that. Uh,
Right.
yeah, this is it's so interesting. I knew that like every time I take an interview and there's something on my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna end up talking about that thing that I've been thinking about in this interview. It doesn't matter what questions you ask me. I'm gonna be talking about that thing that's on my mind because I can't help but think about it and talk about it. Anything comes out of my mouth is gonna be like, I'm having this issue and I can't figure out why. Um, so yeah, motivation is a big has been a problem for some years now. Yeah.
Yeah. But obviously, you talk a lot about those struggles and those feelings and experiences in your music, which is one of the
Yes.
things I love so much about your band and about you as a songwriter as well, because you're so vulnerable, you're so open. And we'll get into the songwriting and everything, if that's okay with you, in a short
Yeah.
while. But I just want to know, like, No Place Like Home, of course, it's coming and it's available for everybody on the 20th of June. It's available to pre-save, pre-order right now. It's so exciting. I know many of your fans are really looking forward to hearing this new one. What does this particular album, with it being the third one, mean to you?
Hmm. I don't know. I have to give you the honest answer. I really don't know. There were
Right.
moments while I was writing some of these songs, and these like little moments that I had to chase, where I still had this motivation. Where I was like, I know what I want to do. I know how I want to affect people. I know what I want to leave as my legacy as an artist in this world. Which was like the only feeling I had early in my career, and I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I don't know.
You're not sure?
It's no, it's so difficult.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I lost you for a second there. The signal cut out, so I only got a little bit of your answer.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh
I just want you
no.
to know I'm
Such a
not
good
like
answer. It was such a good,
oh,
honest, genuine answer too. That's so sad.
this is
You'll
the
never get that from me again.
this is the power of the internet
I
and
just don't.
also the problem.
I think it's the storm probably that happens. Like internet cuts in
Yeah.
and out when that happens. I just got off of my Wi-Fi.
Oh,
I can try my best to answer it again. What did you miss? I mean, that's the majority of it. I don't know is the majority of it, I think. No, what I
yeah.
was saying is like because I'm dealing with this like it really is a crisis right now. Um, I, I I can't answer that question, or probably any question that you're going to ask me about, like, how these things feel. I don't think I can answer them honestly yet because there's a block right now,
Okay.
uh, and I feel like part of my block is that I've been sort of suppressing some of these feelings because I know that my 13-year-old self would see me right now and say, "What a fucking idiot! What are you thinking?" Like the thought of like even considering, I don't know how happy this makes me anymore. This dream that I had since I was a child, I don't know if this is like something feels weird about it, and it's not getting any better.
Mm,
And so I've been suppressing that feeling as much as I can. Nope, 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 nope. This is just a temporary thing. This is a thing. I'm gonna push it down, push it down. There's no way I can accept that. And then by suppressing it internally, I'm also suppressing it with my band and with the fans of this band because I don't want to tell them like, hey, I think I'm miserable right now. But then the reason I'm like talking about this now is because I just had this revelation. Like I just had this epiphany yesterday, um, where all of the success of this band came from me having really uncomfortable feelings and thoughts and then deciding to own them and to talk about them.
mm,
Uh, I was miserable and I wanted to quit music forever right before I wrote Ghost. And then I wrote that song and the song was really successful
mm,
and and uh and not only was it successful, but I felt like I was finally being seen for exactly who I was in that moment and not judged and not I didn't have to put on any sort of face like anything else was happening in my life. Like they knew. I got on stage, they knew exactly who they were looking at.
mm.
And what was going on in my brain. And I let that I let that aspect of myself slip. And so I still don't have a problem writing songs from these perspectives, which is really good because that would I don't know what I would do if I lost that.
Mm.
Um, but I can't like for some reason I'm having this trouble being this person who's going through this specific thing right now in front of the audience that used to really understand me and want to hear that from me and felt understood with their own stuff going on because I wasn't afraid to say it. And so I'm trying to harness that back so that I can
Yeah.
I think that maybe was what my motivation was from the start, and I just kind of lost it. Uh, and so if I find it again, maybe we'll have another interview and I can tell you all about what this album means to me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you so much for such an honest and in-depth answer as well,
Yeah.
Josh. Really beautifully put. And it's really difficult to talk honestly about feelings like that. Like you say, you are probably aware we put something like this out. Somebody who's a fan of your band is going to watch it. And it is scary to admit sometimes that, you're not necessarily 100% happy with the way things are in your life anymore, or you maybe looking for a change, or you're not really sure what, you're trying to achieve anymore. I know a lot of like the lyrics of Detroit are very much you admitting that to your fans too, in a way. It's a love letter to
Yeah.
fans, but also there's an element of that song where, you are kind of addressing that when you reach a certain goal, or, you get to a certain point in a wonderful career, like being a musician and being in a band like Bad Flower, that eventually you do still feel a bit unhappy then because maybe you feel a bit stuck
Mm.
and you're not really sure where to go next. And, that's what I think is so amazing though about music, because you get to communicate those feelings through words, through your art, and you do that so beautifully. And I just want
Thank
to
you.
congratulate you on
That's so nice of you to say. Thank you for saying all that. That means a lot.
Josh, I mean it. I want to congratulate you on the album so far. Everything that I've heard of it so far, amazing. And I am a big fan of Bad Flower anyway. And your second album, of course, one of my favorites. This Is How the World Ends. Like, I'm still not over Sasshole, by the way. Like, that was one of my favorite tracks. I used to play that song all the time. And yeah, I'm just so excited though for like, yeah, like I said, this new era. And, I know it's difficult to talk about, like you say, some of the themes and how you feel about certain things. But when you were writing this album in particular, how did you know at the very end that you were done writing, it was a finished album, and you were ready to pop this out? Like the 13 tracks that you've chosen for this record, like, how did you know this is it? Stop working on it. We're putting this out.
I didn't. I had deadlines, and at a certain point, this band
Always
will
the
run out of.
case.
We will run out of money if I keep making albums and then throwing them in the garbage, and making albums and throwing them in the garbage. So we just had to. We had to. Yeah, we had to. I had to be scolded. I had to be spanked a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
it's always the way.
so,
I wish there could be a really artistic reasoning where you go, oh, I had an epiphany that it was finished and this came to me, and
uh,
actually, no. Money,
no, but
money
and
and
that's nothing.
deadline.
That's nothing new. That's how it is with like the first album. We had our whole lives to write.
Yes, of course.
So yeah, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never what I something I learned is that I'm really bad at this. I'm really bad at being at doing this for a living as a career
Mm,
because I'm meant to like turn in and put out music at a sort of steady pace so that the band can kind of keep building and not have this thing where we go
sure.
2 or 3 years and stop. I'm
Mm,
so bad at that because um, I can't write songs for just for people. I have
yeah.
to write songs for me. And if I don't feel something is like if I don't feel this desire to put something down, to say something, uh I simply won't finish it. I won't do it. I
Yeah.
can't like I can't be done. And I like I admire other artists that aren't that way, that can just tap into it and
Sure.
then figure it out.
Hmm.
Um and I've tried to learn that skill. I've tried working with other people when I felt stuck, like maybe get the right producer, maybe try working with the songwriter, even though I despise the idea of writing with other people.
Okay.
But like I tried it, and I
Mm.
was like, nope, that's not the answer. I think this is just kind of the type of artist I am, and everybody on Team Bad Flower needs to accept that.
Well, listen,
And
you've been doing it for how long has it been now? Really, like 11 or 12 years or something? Bad
I don't
Flower?
want to talk about it. Ugh.
Ah. Well, it has. And, you're going to learn a lot from that. and learn a lot about yourself, which clearly you've been doing. You know, you're learning how you best work, how you write, and when the time's right for you to be able to put thoughts into words. And it is, I can imagine, quite a scary process doing what you do as well, though, in many ways, but also cathartic, I can imagine. And, you know,
Mhm.
I just wondered for you, though, as a songwriter, how do you see or envision a song? Like, are you someone who visualizes a song, or do you so you know you see the song, or are you an auditory kind of writer where you hear the song, or are you a bit of both? Like, how does it work for you?
Um, I definitely don't see the song.
Mm,
However, I often will imagine the music video while the song's being written. I'll imagine the
love
visual
that.
story, but it's not seeing the song. That's like seeing
Mm,
some storyline that might be attached to it.
yeah.
Uh, Honestly, I don't know. It sounds a little bit woo woo, but it almost feels like channeling it from a higher power. Because when I think back on the writing process of certain songs, some of them I don't remember at all. There just wasn't
Really?
that song, and then there was that song, and I remember I was there and
Hmm.
I was doing something, but I don't remember like coming up with the thing.
Yeah.
It's just like wrote it down. There it was.
Mm,
So it's kind of a fascinating thing.
yeah.
Like it's not I don't think it's that different than like literally speech. Like when you're talking to a person, you're not like crafting each word in the sentence before the words come out. They
Yeah,
just come
that's
out.
true.
And
True. Yeah.
it's like some part of your being that decided this is how I organize sentences. This is how I communicate, right?
Yeah.
And part of that is from what you learned, the way that you learned to speak, the people that you grew up with, whatever. So
Mm,
I feel like songwriting is something is like kind of natural as that at times. Um, you know when you're trying to think of the right thing to say in a certain moment and you might do this thing?
yeah.
You might like sit and ponder.
Yeah.
What's actually happening when you're doing that? Like, what is thinking of a thought?
That
Because
is
really
so true.
a thought is just a thing. You're not like going, okay, I'm gonna say this word and then this word. None of that's happening. You're
No.
just like it's just like clearing the mind and then the whole complete thought happens. Writing a song is kind of like that too. It could take, you know, hours, days, months, whatever, and it's like sitting in that thought position and then all of a sudden plow. Like
Mm.
there it is. Or there's that moment of that song or there's that, you know, or there's the whole thing, whatever.
Yeah, it really is like a light bulb moment in real life, isn't it? You
Yeah.
know, and yeah, that's so, do you know, it's so cool that you've just worded it like that because yes, it's very conversational in a way, and yes, you don't overanalyze what you're about to say to someone in a conversation, like unless you have like really critical points you need to get across or something, you know, of course. But like, yeah, that's so interesting to know and think about those kind of things. But then you think about it too much, you overanalyze, I can imagine as well. That could be a little bit like a bit of a block,
Oh
maybe.
yeah. And then also if that thought comes and it feels really natural in the moment, if you sit
Yeah,
and you wait for too long, you start to second guess that
of course.
thought. And then you start to pick at it and change little things here and there. And then by the time you're done with it, you're like, this isn't at all what I
Mm.
initially thought up. And it's not as good.
Yeah,
What happened? And then you try to get back to the original place and you're like,
yeah,
ah, it's not good now. That's why when I write, I always record thinking that this is going to be the final take, like with a vocal. I
okay.
don't do the demo scratch vocal usually. I record the take. And then
Mm.
if I can beat it later, great. But I always have that very first one. And most of the time, that very first one is the one I use. Like this album, a lot of stuff was written on the bus when we were on tour. And
Okay.
I had this little mic arm set up in the back lounge on the bus, and I was recording vocals sometimes when it was moving and there was like background noise.
Yeah.
But I recorded certain takes of certain parts of songs I couldn't beat after that, and so I was like, I'm gonna deal with the bullshit sound and try to clean this up and whatever. But this is the take. This is when I actually meant it the most, and I'll never mean it as much as I did in that moment. So that's it.
Yeah, of course, a lot of like producers as well that I've spoken to about, you know, recording with vocalists. Like a lot of the time they would say to a vocalist, like maybe like do a couple more takes, but then usually do end up using the first one because that was the one with
Yeah,
the feeling when you weren't overthinking it too much or overanalyzing it too much. That's the one that really spoke from the heart and just came out, you know?
yeah.
So
But I
yeah,
was like, I think it's good to do more takes. It's like there could be a word saying and between this word and that word where you're like, just that and is a little bit weird. Oh, let me just pop in that other and. You know what? It's so
yeah,
much better. It's all the emotion of the original take, but that one word, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So it's good. It's good to do.
Yeah, of course. And I love hearing about all that kind of stuff because I find it so interesting as, as musicians, like the way your brains work and the way that you love to create things. I just find that so fascinating. And of course, like we've got to talk about the singles as well that you've been releasing from the new album. Of course, just a reminder again, No Place Like Home. It's coming on the 20th of June. Our latest offering is the absolutely beautiful and very emotionally charged pause.
As you say that, your cat pops up in the background literally as you mention it. That's so funny.
That's like fate, honestly.
Yeah.
Six. This is my cat Six, by the way. He's called Six
Six.
Ledoux. He's named after
That's a good
Nikki
name.
Six from Motley Crue.
Love it.
Oh, here he is. He's popping in to say hello, but he appreciates pause. And I will say, so does everybody I show this song to. And I swear not a dry hat like eye in the house. Like literally my family dog, she's called Bailey, she's 12 now. She's like, we're noticing she's getting older as you do notice things, and she seems like she can't hear as well, and we can't take her on as long walks anymore like we did when she was younger. And it's just a natural like life experience when you've got loved beloved pets. And I said to my parents actually, because we were talking about her, and I said, "Yo, you have to listen to this song by Bad Flower. I'm doing an interview with the singer, and this is this song." And I put the lyric video on for my mum and dad, and literally all of us were just crying. So, Josh, congratulations on the way that you can absolutely take something that's quite a heartbreaking subject, but so beautifully create a song like that where you can make those tough subjects listenable for people. And I just want to say big hugs to you as well for
Oh,
Maggie.
thank
I
you.
know Maggie is such a legend in the Bad Flower
Yeah,
camp, and
she's
she's a little
here.
star.
She's she's here too. All right.
Maggie!
And she's still little.
Oh, oh, look at her. Oh,
Yeah.
she's beautiful.
Yeah, she's been doing it's good days and bad days, but she's been doing better.
Yeah.
Uh lately. I did figure out that she did have some health issues finally after multiple vet visits that weren't just related to old age that we
Okay.
got sorted. So um yeah, so she's got time.
Yeah, she's a
Yeah.
tough cookie. She's doing really
Yeah, she
well.
is.
Lots of love. We love Maggie. But yeah, you wrote Pause, of course, about her. It's inspired by her. And I just wondered for you, like what was it like to write a song like that? Because that's very different. I never really hear songs about pets, and it's just something so relatable to so many people, I thought it was a really beautiful theme to talk about. And yeah, like I say, just thank you for writing this song. It's really special, Josh.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I it definitely was the one that made me the most emotional too in the writing pro. Well, no, there's one other that probably hit me worse, but that's not out yet. We won't talk about that. Um, but yeah, no, pause really messed me up. Like when I had that moment realizing what it was,
Hmm.
because I had the moment the same. I actually really liked the way the song was paced, and it was intentional because I'm singing through this chorus,
Hmm.
and it just felt like this generic. I mean, musically, it felt beautiful. I knew it felt like a beautiful kind of throwback to that emo sad
Yeah.
thing. Um, but then it just hit me what I was singing about, like the thing that I was channeling.
Sure.
Um, and then I realized that I wanted to pace the song in such a way where that kind of hit the audience hearing it for the first time in
Hmm.
a similar way,
Hmm.
where you don't really, like I really nail it in, it hit the nail on the head in the second verse, where you're like, oh my God, this is about a dog. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
because that's how I felt. I was like, oh my God, this is about my dog. That's what this is. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see like it's a heartbreaking subject. It's clearly difficult for you to talk about. And I know like you've been sharing the story of Maggie and things on social media. So I just wanted to just for I think more for your fans too, like if anybody does watch this back or, is wondering how you're doing and how you're getting on with that whole situation, then I just want them to, be able to hear from you and see how you're getting on.
That's nice because they don't hear from me any other way. So it's the
I don't know. I mean, your social media is really fun, I will say. Like, I love the Bad Flower channels. You're always like finding ways to come on there. I actually really loved how you announced this album as well, because you were just like, fuck it. album,
Yeah.
which I really, really enjoyed because it's just like it just seems so off the cuff. Like, here, have a new album, everyone, enjoy. So,
Well, it was. Yeah, it was. It was.
how long
Nice.
were you working on No Place Like Home? But between the last album, your sophomore album, which
Mhm.
came out in 2021, like how long have you been preparing for this next release?
Um, I mean, we started writing. There's always writing happening in the
Mm,
background, but like I think really, actually, I think after This Is How the World Ends, I really did take a break for. I was like, I don't want to. I don't want to. Obviously, I'm going to play live, so I'm going
yeah.
to make music. I'm going to sing these songs live, but I didn't want to think about writing for a while. That one took a lot out of me.
Mm,
But that was also like during COVID, and I was pretty reckless and drinking and drugging out and really enjoying my isolation time.
mm,
Um, yeah, so I didn't want to think about writing for a while, and then I want to say it's been some years. Like I said, we've made albums, or at least like albums worth of songs that were close to done that I just kept throwing away, and it
okay.
was really stressing everybody out
Mm.
because the label would hear something, and they'd be like, "Oh, this could be a cool thing." This, nope, it's in the garbage. Sorry, sorry, you can't have that. You can't have that.
When you do,
I pulled Detroit out of the garbage several times.
no way.
I put it so deep in the trash. I was like, it's never coming out. And then I was convinced. I was like, you know what? Maybe I will. Maybe I will pull this out. And then
Yeah.
I put it back in, and then pulled out again. Yeah,
What
yeah. So,
was the catalyst in the end for you pulling that back out then? Like what actually made you
uh,
go, do you know what? That's actually going to be a release.
honestly, it
Yeah.
was too catchy.
It is. It does stick in your head, I will say.
It it was too catchy, and I was like, I think this is an amazing song, but for a different band, not for this
Right.
one. That was my thought, my honest thought. And then, but really, like lyrically, no, it's for our band.
Mm,
Lyrically, it's our band for sure. But it was simply musically.
yeah.
I was like, this is just this may be too pop for what we do.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, and then I convinced myself. I was like, you know what? That you've never thought that way before. You've like I always hated when people tried to box us in, like write more songs like this, sound more like this. And I'm like, if anyone knew me before Bad Flower, I was not like heavy rock guy. And then
mm.
somehow I just kind of went these directions, and that's what people thought that I was and this whole band was. And I don't know, maybe we'd be the biggest band in the world if we decided to stay in the box that everybody wanted us to, but I wouldn't have been fulfilled. I would have been miserable. And
Yeah.
so the only thing that keeps me happy through all this is knowing like you can't tell me what to do. I'm going to do whatever I feel. I just didn't really feel Detroit for a minute. I had to
Mm.
convince myself that that was what I felt was the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a band as well, like how do you kind of like deal with that process of choosing the songs? Is it solely like, do you have like sole choice or is it a group effort? How does that like process of selection really work? Because I know obviously when I speak to other musicians and they say they've got an album coming, it's never just the songs that are going to be on the album that were in the mix. Like there was always so many more that could have been, chosen for whatever
Mm.
reason they weren't. So like how do you kind of do that process of selection in the end?
In our case, it's usually whichever songs get finished first because it takes so long for that to happen.
Sure.
Um, but the ones that get finished first are the ones that feel the most right, and so that
Yeah.
it's not quite as like bleak as that as I'm making it sound.
Yeah.
But there was a moment where we were going with a different version of this album,
Yeah.
and then we shifted that because there was a lack of ballads and sad songs, and those are the ones that I love the most. And
Yeah.
so we brought those back, and I'm so glad we did because still those are my favorite ones.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's so exciting. What we've heard so far from Haunting You from London, love the music video for that, by the way. Chef's Kiss, brilliant.
Thank
Of
you.
course, we've talked about Pause, Detroit. I know that the fans were really reeling for you to release Snuff, and it's your
Yeah.
fault because you've been playing it live and teasing them too much. So, are we going to see this song appear anytime before the album release on the 20th of June?
Nope. It's in the garbage. I'm just kidding. It's not. No, it's coming out. Actually, yeah, it will.
Yeah?
Possibly sooner than the album. Who knows? I don't know.
Oh, amazing. Well, Josh, on a final note, I just want to say, because we need to wrap up, but like there's so much more I wish we could have talked about. I just want to mention really quickly as well that people can catch you here in the UK as well. You're touring Europe, UK, towards the end of the year, November, December, with 3 Days Grace, which is a new announcement recently, which is amazing.
Mm.
I know that this month you're back for festival season and you're gonna be playing a festival this May, aren't you? One of the Danny Wimmer festivals. I've written this down actually. Sonic Temple Festival, and you've
Yes.
got the Unity Tour 2025 kicking off in summer. So plenty of places for people to catch you live. Have you
Yes.
got a message that you would like to send out on a final note to Bad Flower fans? Anything you want to let them know about the album or about seeing you on the road? Anything you want to say?
Leave me alone. I'm fragile. Leave me alone.
You're a little fragile thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Be happy. Be happy. Don't worry about the bands you like. We're fine. We have our dream jobs. You figure out what makes you happy.
Well,
That's it.
Josh, thank you so, so much for your time, for your energy, for taking the time out of your day to chat about the album. I cannot wait to hear the full finished piece. Love to Maggie as well, and much love to the rest of the band, and safe travels. Enjoy your busy, busy 2025, and I'm wishing you a
Thanks.
lot of like love and good luck with
Thank you so
everything.
much.
All right,
Brilliant.
thank you so
Thank you
much,
Yeah.
so
See you
Alex.
much.
later.
Nice to
That
meet
was
you.
fun.
Bye.